What is your name?
My name is Lorna Sturton.
And how old are you?
I'm 54.
54. Excellent. Can you give us a little brief background on how you first felt before you decided to join the Firstline Therapy program?
Well, I wasn't really happy with myself. I didn't like the way I looked. I was very heavy. I felt lethargic. I had hardly any energy, and every time I ate, I felt very bloated, and I just was not happy with the way I was feeling, and I knew that I needed some kind of guidance to get me on the right track, and that's why I came here.
Excellent. Was there a certain point that you remember, that a certain event, or that was the tipping point, that, or was it just a combination?
I think it's just the overall, you know, you don't feel good, you don't like your self-image, I didn't like what I saw in the mirror when I had pictures taken, I didn't like the way I looked, and I knew it was time to do something. I had tried things on my own and realized that, one, I didn't know enough about nutrition, and I didn't know what was good and what wasn't, and a lot of these quick fix diets did not work for me, and I just decided it was time to do something that was going to be beneficial for me, and that I couldn't do it on myself, so I needed help, and that's why I came here.
Good. Now that you've started the plan, how have you found it to maintain it? Has it been easy for you? Has there been difficult parts?
Well, I think like any program, when you start something, you really have to want to do it, and once I made up my mind that I wanted to do it, I think with the nutritionist here, Christine and Patrick, I got a lot of support, and it was easier for me to do that. To stay on the program, it wasn't really hard to follow, and I think a lot of it too is your mindset. Once you realize that it's not a diet, I think it's easier to do. If you know it's a lifestyle change, it's easier, because I think psychologically when you think of diet, you kind of, in the back of your mind, you know it's temporary, and you figure, well, I can give up not eating this or that, because as soon as I lose the weight, I'm going to go back. The problem with that has always been that once you did that, you not only gained back the weight, but you would gain more. So when I started the program, I realized that this was not going to be another diet. It was a lifestyle change, and once I was able to accept that, it was easy for me not to want those things, because it made me feel so much better that I had no craving for the sugars and all the fast food, the fried food, all the things that everybody tells you are bad for you, but you eat them anyway. And the reality is that a lot of people say, well, it just takes too much time to cook that kind of food. It's easier to go somewhere and grab a pizza or whatever fast food is available. But the reality is, if you're educated, or you find out what is good, it really isn't that much more difficult, and it's not any more expensive than going out to eat at some junk food place.
Now, you mentioned you tried diets in the past. You were exercising when you started this plan.
Right.
But were you not seeing the results you're seeing now?
Yeah.
While you were exercising?
Yes, I think one of the good things that I liked about here is that when I saw Dr. Mena, he was, I think he's great, and he's also very interested in me as a person, and wanted to make sure that I accomplished my goals. And I think that even though I was exercising before, I didn't have the nutrition behind me. So I think it's sort of like a package deal. You got to have the proper medical supervision, and I think you do have to do exercise. I know a lot of times, people think you can do one without the other, but I don't really think so, because I was doing it before. I was exercising 6 days a week, but I wasn't getting any results. Then when I came here and I learned a lot, a little bit more about nutrition and what was good and what wasn't, and it's good because it was specialized for me, as they looked into what problems I was having. He took the time to talk to me to see what I had tried, what failed, and then he kind of basically told me why it failed. And I think the combination of knowing that, working with the nutritionist, and getting on a regimen of eating the proper things, that in hand with drinking a lot more water and exercising regularly, and adding cardio, because before I was doing a lot of weight training. I wasn't doing hardly, I would do cardio, but not as regularly as I am now. I do it 6 days a week, whereas before I would do it maybe 2 days a week. So I think it's a combination of both, and now that I'm doing it, I feel so much better. I'm beginning to have a better self-image of myself. I'm happy with myself. I feel great, and I'm glad that it's a decision that I made, not on a temporary basis, but on a long term. And I think with the help of Dr. Mena and his nutritionist here, I will be able to accomplish that goal.
I think that was perfect. You answered everything.